Today's question is regarding data breach liability coverage, which is really a growing area of coverage concern, and many companies are starting to jump on board. There's two different types of policies being sold right now, and I'm going to really talk about the one that is probably going to show up first and more often, and that's data breach liability. It comes under many different names, and also there's not a standard form in the industry, so I'll talk about some general similarities between the coverages, but each company may be different. And so data breach liability is a business insurance coverage that's come into play, and generally there's three different types of coverages with a sub-coverage that is involved in this. The first one is electronic media liability. And with so much stuff being presented now and so much information accessible out on the internet for us to use, this would provide companies coverage if they were sued for using somebody else's likeness or protected or trademarked or copyrighted properties. An example was a local health department put out a publication, and it was digital and then also mailed out, where they were talking about safety with swimming pools, and they used an image that somebody came back and said that that was their swimming pool picture, and they settled for $7,000. So most of that stuff is excluded from the general liability policy, especially if it's in a digital format, and so this coverage is provided under that. The next one is electronic information security liability, and that coverage is very beneficial and helpful with companies if you were to infect somebody with a virus, something that came out of your systems and caused viruses to your clients or prospective clients. Also, people stealing information that is protected from your system and using that, which leads us to the third coverage, which is security breach expenses. And that coverage is to help your clients if people do come in and start stealing things like personal information, identity theft, etc. So that coverage would help you notify the clients that that security breach did happen within your organization. It will also allow them to be monitored for a period of up to a year to make sure that their identification has not been stolen or used. And lastly, if there's been actual damages, we'll help cover that. And that comes with a sub-coverage that's called crisis management, and it helps you retain a firm that helps you deal with crises such as this. Communicate your message and what you're doing to try to protect the business from further harm. When you say data breach, do you think that people need that have computers and internet and website capabilities? But realistically, even taking it down to the level of, if you were a contractor, you came to my house, you did some work, I wrote you a check, and you left and went to Wendy's, and sitting on the front seat was the invoice with a copy of my check and my routing numbers, that would be a data breach and would be covered with this, even though there was no internet web involvement. Again, a growing area of theft, and it's a big area of exposure for companies. It's a very competitive alternative, and one that we'd be happy to talk to you about. Thank you.